If we have to really discuss the issues that are faced by laborers, they are vast. They are the range, There are a lot of things that are happening in the workplace that people do not want to talk about or people ignore, because when you are finding financial sustenance from your job, it is difficult to see being wronged or any wrongdoing. So people tend to be quiet about that, and they tend to ignore being ill-treated, or being in a slave contract, or being unable to actually talk about how they're unfairly treated, or how their workplace is not, the best place to be at. As much as you will hear the horror stories of laborers, from bullying to espionage to sabotage, there's a lot of labor issues that are grappled with in South Africa, and people don't want to talk about it because, you know what, that's where you get your paycheck. Why should you press charges against your boss or tell on your boss? You don't do that. But then for those who are facing labor issues in which they cannot stand the conditions of their work, or the conditions within their workplace, if I have to give you advice, it will be that as much as South Africa is really having issues with enforcing, the labor laws, the labor laws are beautifully written, and they offer a very wide range of protection for workers. The issue is that in implementation, it becomes hard, especially when you're looking at the corruption that has grappled South Africa. It's not only political corruptions, but there is some form of, a block that exists, especially when you're dealing with labor law. To show how much this issue is so immense is that even if you are a lawyer, or you're trying to get to be a lawyer, the procedure, the labor standards, it's really dropped. It's really down. There are a lot of issues in that regard. So nobody has it easy. There's no profession that has it easy. There's always something. Either you have to sleep with the boss, or you have to do favors for the boss. There are always a give and take. Even also in terms of getting hired, you have to face issues of, either you have to be connected in order to even get a job, or, it's really difficult to find honest people who literally hire you based on your skills. Either there's an issue with you having too many skills. So there's, you don't know whether to study further or to not study at all, because then nobody maintains a basic line or a basic standard to know whether you'll be really getting a job based on your merits. So it's a really, it's a very, how should I put it? You don't know where to place yourself. Should you really study hard and work hard and get a qualification, or should you just not, and just be, an entry level or just a basic employee, not a professional employee in terms of, getting your qualifications. So it's really a difficult decision you have to make, especially when you're in South Africa. So one advice, if you have facing labor issues and you cannot stand it, if I have to give you advice, I'll say that approach the CCMA, read upon your laws. People, please, when you have an issue, go on Google as much as you can find porn and gossip about your favorite stars or idols or celebrities. You can also find information based on, your labor rights. Know your labor rights. Please, whenever you get a job, read upon your labor rights. Read upon them. Read all your employment equity rights. There are a lot that is covered in terms of law, in terms of labor, a beautiful legislation, beautiful statutes. The law is very vast and wide and very protective. It's just that in application, we don't seek it out. We never seek it out. so that it can be to our advantage. Always teach yourself about the law. Don't enter into slave contracts. Don't enter into conditions that are unfair to either your health or even your mental integrity or your mental physical health. Don't do that. Read upon it. What is right and what is wrong. It is always right to know what are your rights, especially in terms when it comes to labor. Know what you need. You need to be you need to know what you need to have in order to stay secure. Sometimes to just enter into a contract and without due regard to reading what is required of you or what will be happening or how they regulate you, it becomes a consequence for you as a worker. And that shouldn't be. You are the one offering service for a company. You should be actually a prized possession. That's why I was very hefty debate about classifying employees as expenses. Employees shouldn't be seen as expenses. Why is wages classified as an expense, but then something as simple as a pencil is classified as an equipment? It's an asset for the company, but then employees are seen as expenses. So that is a really huge debate I've been having. And I'm saying employees should be seen as assets. They should be your current assets. They should be your assets in which you value. But then since they're seen as expenses, it becomes an issue. How can somebody who is supposed to help the workplace and actually make it exist, classify it as an expense, but then if I have to give you legal advice, read on your labor laws. If you have a labor issue, approach the CCMA first. If there are no internal remedies, if there is no bargaining council within your workplace or any person you can approach in this regard, go see somebody, consult with any consultant from the CCMA. Find out what you need to do first in order to have your voice heard, because it's not fair for people to be treated unfairly, especially when they are assets to companies. So laborers out there, workers out there, hard workers out there, know your labor rights. Be safe all the time. This is the Law Talk with Lauretta-M.